Hey guys, Shane McMurray from the Wedding Report. In this episode, I interview Crystal Marie from Crystal Marie Events in Detroit, Michigan. Crystal, besides designing events, Crystal also writes books, and she also has some courses for planners. It's a really good interview. Hope you enjoy. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about your business. What do you do? What goes into the work you do? So tell me about you. Where and also tell me what city you're in and all that good stuff. Your website, everything.
Okay, so hi, I am Crystal Marie Young. My business is Crystal Marie Events, where we're headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. I have been in business since 2008, so slowly approaching or rapidly approaching 12 years.
Nice.
So I do, my signature is destination weddings, but I do local weddings as well as out of state weddings, social events, corporate, and design. So that is my business. www.crystalmarieevents.com is the website. You can see testimonials, videos, pictures, services, descriptions, all of that there. Yeah, I don't know what else.
So you
uh,
said you do destination weddings, so people coming into the area or like people from there going somewhere else?
People from anywhere going to the area or elsewhere.
Okay.
Mostly elsewhere. So usually, they want the hot locations, the Caribbean spots. So Jamaica, Mexico, Turks and Caicos, places like that. And
Yeah,
then sometimes other cities and states, so like Florida, Washington, D.C., that type of thing. So yeah.
that's cool because I noticed just from looking at data in the past around destination weddings, I noticed a lot of people from the northern parts of the states and even in
Hmm.
Canada area like to go where it's warm for a destination wedding.
Yeah, especially here, because
Yeah.
Michigan, especially this time, we're having a pretty good winter. It's really weird now, but
Mhm.
usually it's cold. So I do, December is like a big time for people to kind of travel. But surprisingly, a lot of destination weddings that I have done, people are from here, but they don't live here.
Oh,
So they're coming, yeah, they're like, oh, I'm in Texas. I want to go here for a destination wedding, or hey, I live in Richmond, Virginia. I want to go here for a destination wedding. So I get a lot of business out of state. So
that's really good.
yeah, which is
You
cool. I
Do you find those coming from referrals or do you find them coming from like stuff that you're doing already online?
So for years, my business was really like referral based. Now I'm really seeing that it's picking up from like Google. So I always ask people like, "Oh, how did you find me?" And it used to be for a long time, "Oh, referral," or I was at a wedding that you did, or at an event that you did. Such and such told me about you. But now I'm getting inquiries kind of through the website, and I go, how did you hear about me? And they go, oh, I just Googled. So I'm like, okay, it seems like, things are picking up with the search engine, just kind of having my business kind of on different platforms. So that'll be like Facebook, Instagram, Wedding Wire, because that houses most of my testimonials,
Mhm.
articles and publications that I've been featured in. So I think kind of everything is kind of linking back
Yeah.
to the website, and people are using those keywords and they're able to find me, which is cool, because for years I could not understand this SEO thing, so I just was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of I'll say now maybe like not still 90%, or maybe yeah, still 90% client referral, but that 10% is like creeping up where people are finding me on Google. So
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say your business is events, what do you do? Like is it you do the tell me about like if I were going to call you and hire you to do something for me, tell what goes into that?
So first, we start with just kind of a screening. So you kind of get to know me, I get to know you. Most of the time, they're submitting just kind of a quick inquiry through my website. So they're giving me just kind of a snapshot of what they want. I usually call first to build up that rapport. And then they book a consultation. Now I'm seeing that people really know what they want. They're like, we see your work. Again, if it's referral based, I already know who you are. I've seen your work. I've
Mhm.
talked to you before. Here's my consultation fee. Let's get started.
Yeah,
Um, and I practice something different that a lot of planners in my area and beyond don't. I charge for a consultation, whereas you see a lot of them go free consultations and things like that. I actually charge for my consultations because that kind of weeds out the people who are definitely interested or the people who are just shopping around and just really looking for the cheapest price.
yeah.
Um,
That's a
and
good plan.
yeah, yeah. And with my prices, my clients, they're not like, oh, I'm looking for the cheapest price type clients.
Yeah,
So they're very, they know kind of like the quality and the worth of my business and the events that I do. So they go ahead and book the consultation fee. They can do everything via. I try to make the website very user friendly, and then everything pretty much automated. So they have my calendar. They can go ahead and book. They pay online, and then it comes back to me where they book the website. Most of the time, I am doing virtual because, again, a lot of my clients are elsewhere, but the ones that are here, they're able to book an in person.
that's
So we meet at my office. And because I'm kind of everywhere and in and out of town, my office is based out of a co-shared working space.
that's
So
cool.
I don't do the whole kind of storefront thing because for me that wouldn't be worth it for me.
Well, yeah, because
Um,
half your clients are out of town, right? I mean, there's no point, right?
exactly,
Yeah. Makes sense.
exactly. So yeah, so I just pop in and out of my co-share working space when needed. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, how long when did you decide like that? Because that kosher working space is interesting. When did you decide
mhm.
like, the whole storefront thing doesn't make sense. Let me get a kosher
Yeah.
working space so I can meet with people in public in a nice space, but keep my expenses down, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that was the whole thing for me and that's why I'm so adamant on keeping the website up to date, keeping my social media and things active and up to date with like pictures,
Hmm.
my personality, you can see through my pictures, tips that I provide. I do a lot of engagement on social media and the website. So because you can't walk past my, quote unquote storefront and see a display or anything like that. You can see everything virtually because people are very visual, especially with event planners.
Yeah.
They want to see what you can do. Um, and really the co-share working space part for me is we're not meeting, because again they're paying, so I try to give them kind of a different experience versus a free consultation and we meeting at a coffee shop where the barista is making stuff and you can't hardly hear.
Yeah.
I greet them with a welcome gift. We are in an office setting, bright, open setting, windows, natural lighting coming in. It's a whole experience. And plus, I provide them with a consultation form that they fill out prior to.
Hmm.
So they're getting access to that where I'm asking them kind of questions. And that way I know what to price them based off of how much they've done or how little they've done.
Yeah.
So again, all of that goes into my fee as far as booking a consultation because I've worked really hard on my consultation form. So I don't think anybody needs to get that for free. Uh, so,
Yeah. I
it's a
agree.
whole experience I set up. So, and people have and more than likely when they book I'm hiring them because they've already invested in me, they pretty
Yeah.
much know what I can do.
Yeah,
So
that's true. It's a good point. Um, how many hours do you think you put into like an event? Like, so I booked you, right? And we start talking about what I want to do and what you think is
mhm.
the right thing to do. I mean, even before the day, right? Because you got to go set stuff up and get things going, and there's a lot
Oh
of work that
God,
goes into
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
How many hours do you think you put into like just preparing for the day? Because I know your day is 10, 12 hours, right? Easy.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes really, 14 if we're starting from the beginning, because it's a whole practice that I have to get to, before I even get to the event. So if we're just talking about day of, that's really a 14-hour day, especially if I'm packing the car because I have my own inventory of decor items. So I'm packing the car. I'm calling everybody just to make sure that people are okay. I could have the bridesmaids or the designated person that I have kind of watching out my eyes if I'm not there with the bride at that time. They're
Right.
texting me at 5 in the morning, hey, the makeup artist just got here. So my day has already started. So it's really like a 14-hour day. The preparation could be anywhere from 20 to 40 to 70 hours, depending on if it's let's say if it's a Nigerian wedding, half the time that's a 2-day event.
Wow.
So that could double
That's
the
80
hours.
hours probably prep time, right? And then you got
Exactly.
two
Yep.
14-hour days.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's like a 2-day event. So I've already really started that week,
Yeah.
of kind of preparing and getting things together. I could have a meeting with my team who's going to help me because sometimes I bring in people as needed. Sometimes I bring in people as needed. So, that means I need to do a briefing with them at that time.
Right.
So that could be earlier during the week if we have a rehearsal or a rehearsal dinner that needs to set up. And then depending on the wedding, because I have different packages. So if it's a month of management wedding, I'm coming in 4 to 6 weeks before.
Wow.
If it's venue search to all the way to the end. So it depends on, where they hire me at. Partial planning, we're kind of in the middle where it's like, hey, I booked 4 vendors. I still need X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So, depending on which package they select, but you can go anywhere. It could be they're booking me 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
So depending on and some people go, hey, I want a reception here, but we're getting married here. So
Mhm.
that's two different,
Yeah.
technically
Yeah.
two
Two
different
different,
events.
two different locations, and yeah.
Yeah, like it's one wedding for them in their head, but for me, that's two different events.
Mhm.
So that could be 110 hours right there. So it
Yeah.
just really, depends on what the
Oh, it's all
client wants.
custom, right? Yeah. It's all
Exactly. It's
custom.
all
Yeah.
custom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never go, oh, this is going to be 15 hours of planning, like because I could misquote. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's really all custom. It's really all custom.
So how much you charge for the consultation fee?
So now the consultation fee starts at 75, and then so like if it's a general consultation, it's 75. If it's a destination wedding, it goes up because I do kind of research before then,
Yeah.
like looking at different locations and things. So already upfront, I'm already doing a service.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to charge for my time, and it just
Absolutely.
depends.
Yeah. You know
Mhm.
that time is important, right? I mean,
Time is important, especially with planning, and I think it's really about educating your client as to why certain things cost.
yeah.
And once you educate them, because 9 times out of 10 they're coming to you because they've never planned an event of this magnitude.
Yep.
So they're coming. So it's really about education. Like, hey, this is why I charge this amount, because even before I meet with you personally or virtually, I've already done about 4 to 10 hours of work
Mhm.
already before you've hired me
Yeah.
to make sure that your experience is the best and that I'm answering all the questions that you probably will have.
Yeah.
So I'm presenting them with stuff, especially if it's a destination wedding. I'm presenting at least 3 locations, 3 price points, 3 services. Traveling goes into that. So now I've switched to a travel agent as well.
Yeah. Well,
You
that's
know,
good.
so it's a lot of things that go into it.
Oh, for sure. Oh, well, that's the thing is I want to help educate couples because I think sometimes you're right. I mean, they just think about the price, and that's the only thing that they matter. I mean, people are so price sensitive because everything is a discount and a this. I mean, you know that from everything you see
Right,
online.
right.
I mean, it's just crazy, right? So people
Yeah,
are already price sensitive, just in
yeah.
general. And
Just in
so
general.
yeah, and so that's the first thing. And what I want to do is kind of like, well, look, here's the value. let's get to the value talk first, because that's really what they need to understand, what goes into what you do.
Hmm.
That's why it
And
costs that
really, yeah, and really, and I tell them that really hiring a planner, you're already saving money because I am helping you tap into my discounts. So vendors are more than likely, especially if I work with them various times,
much.
they'll give me that discount versus them coming in off the street going, hey, we want to, rent this linen. Whereas I can get it cheaper. I go in and go, hey, I'm having another wedding. They're like, Crystal, automatically, 10% off, 20% off of whatever you need,
Well,
versus them coming in. And then I know the VIP, the quality vendors to go to versus them going to,
whoever.
whoever, just because I'm like, cheaper prices do not equal quality,
Gotcha.
but I try to save you as much money as I can. For one, that just makes me look good, and for two, I'm not out here trying to take your money and things like that. But events cost of
Yeah.
this magnitude, they just cost, so it's
Yeah,
not
they
that.
do.
Yeah,
It
I'm
adds
like, they
up.
cost. I'm like, I'm not getting all that money, but depending
It
on your
adds up.
vision,
Yeah. It
it
totally
adds
adds up.
up quickly.
Yeah.
So,
So if I like just like starting ballpark, right? Just general, what am I looking at to work with you?
the good thing about me and my website, I tell people to go. You can go to my website and see the starting prices right then
Okay.
and there.
All
So
right.
I'm already letting you know from the beginning, this is where I start at. For me to even, entertain your event, this is where I'm starting at.
Yeah.
And I do that for corporate. I do that for weddings. I do that for social.
Mhm.
Everybody knows this is my starting price.
That's
So
good.
month of management is the most, it's the lower price because I'm dealing with the client less versus,
Sure.
full planning and destination wedding. They can do a package of including my travel, and they can do a package where I'm just kind of virtual consulting and I'm not traveling down there with them. So I
Mhm.
give them the option. I don't say this is your price point and this is only. I still give them options as
Yeah.
to, hey, you can start here if you really like, really trying to lowball a little bit, and you have to stick within a strict budget, then
Yeah.
we can still do a destination wedding. I just won't be there the day of, but I can do all the handling before then. And then some people like, hey, if you're doing all the handling, most of them do book me to travel. They're like, if you're doing all the handling, we want you to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to make sure that everything is going well. So, but I still offer that, that service. So all the starting prices are on the website.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That's good. I'm glad you do that, because that actually allows people to, it kind of qualifies them a little bit, right? Pre-qualifies them, right?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and I don't want to waste, anybody's time, nor do I want my time wasted. So before you even call, before, because again, you're coming to the website doing research. If you're doing Google search, you're researching, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I pop up, you click on that, you go straight to services, and you're scrolling and you go, oh, these are the price points. And, back in the day when I first started, it was hard for planners to, you're like, well, how much do you charge? And that, you never saw that on the website.
Yep.
And me, I'm like, I'm not ashamed or anything about my prices. Like, I want you to know how much things are. So
Yeah.
when you call me, you're already educated, you're already ready to either make a decision or you're ready to invest in the starting,
Mhm.
example, booking a consultation.
Mhm.
And then you can go from there, or you can go to the website and like, I want to start small, let me purchase her book,
Yeah.
let me start with the Crystal Clear Bride Guide. Let me start with that and see what tips she provides,
Yeah.
and then maybe I'll book a consultation after that. So with so many options that you can experience with Crystal Marie events.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, that's great, because what you're doing is you're basically preventing a bunch of inquiries that you don't answer,
right.
that you could just get the information online. I'm sure you still get some anyway, because people don't always read stuff, but
Right.
nevertheless, I mean, most of it's there. That's great.
Right, right. And you're absolutely correct. People don't read anymore. So it's like that's why I have those videos and visuals. So you can easily, as soon as you go to the first page, you can scroll down and see, oh wow, okay, she's been featured. Oh wow, this is a video of 10 reasons why I should do a destination wedding. Oh, this is a picture from a wedding. Oh, this is an award she's gotten. So, I try to make sure I'm capturing you with the visual first, and then you go, okay, this is pretty much like, let me read further.
Yeah.
So the second or third thing they're going to do is read. First thing they're going to look, so you have to like kind of catch their eye like that.
Yes, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the business side of this. So for the business side, what would you say is working well for you right now?
For the business side, definitely for me is the whole charging for consultation piece. I've done that for maybe the last 4 years now,
Mhm.
4 or 5 years now. And it's really helped me to really zone in on my target audience, who's my client. Like I said, I've been in business since '08, but it still feels like 5 years to me. Like, you know what I
I
mean?
know,
Because it's
yeah,
so much I had to learn because I didn't really have that the person to help me. So it was a lot of like bumps I had to make and,
yeah,
things I had to overcome and obstacles I had to deal with. But I'm like, okay, now I finally got it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So, but
yeah.
I think charging for consultations has really helped me kind of zone into the clients because I'm not dealing with a lot of, kind of riffraff in between that.
Sure.
So I would say that that's like the number one thing. Number two would be again just having that social media presence and providing my audience or followers or whoever with just kind of tips and pictures and ideas and sometimes a funny story here and there
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
deal with a lot of babies in the wedding, so it's always a funny story with the kids,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
people see that with pictures and stuff like that. So I always kind of tell a story within a wedding, because that's primarily more of my business. I do more weddings than like social events and corporate.
Okay.
um, so that I would say that would be number two, just kind of having that social media presence.
So flip side, what's not working well?
um with planning, you always go through those kind of slow months. If you, so for me, I have to say it's gotten better, but for me, because now I've tapped into other things within the industry to kind of buffer those slow periods.
Sure.
So if I'm depending on Detroit, Michigan for weddings, again, it's going to be less weddings in the colder season because it's just
It's
extremely
too cold,
cold.
yeah.
No one wants to deal with that. But you have a couple of weddings here and there, but it's not as lucrative as the summer or spring or fall would be.
Sure.
So in those slower months, before I got to this point, it was like, how do I still make money within these. So that's when you tap into the social events. So like the holiday parties, the
Yeah.
corporate parties. So because I don't just do weddings, that's it. That has helped cover me. Again, being a speaker and speaking on entrepreneurship and coaching novice event planners has helped me too because, I charge for those services as well. The books, kind of dropping in here and there, people are purchasing while I'm asleep, so that you wake up to a ding like, oh, someone bought, five
Yeah.
people bought my book or whatever, so just learning, but that was over time, as experience as you get, those are different things that you can tap into. So just doing strictly weddings for me does not work just because of the location I'm in.
Yeah.
But then discovering different ways that I can still tap and make money has helped. So
Yeah.
I would say that has picked up over the past couple of years.
That's cool. What so last couple of questions. So what specific advice would you have for couples getting married? And then we'll start there.
My number one thing, and not because I'm biased and I'm a planner, but it's like always hire an expert. Like you will, it's an investment, but it's one of the best investments that you can make. I've heard horror stories about, oh, that was a bad planner, but you have to do your research. That's why we have testimonials and reviews and articles and different things like that. So I think sometimes, and this might be sensitive, but sometimes I think we kind of get a bad rep from those kind of free websites, wedding websites, where it's like, oh, you don't need a planner, just do this and DIY that and tap into this. And it's like, when are we going to get our respect? Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just, really do your research at first, really zone in on investing in a planner because it will save you so much money and time. Again, my target audience, my target person is a busy bride, so she doesn't have time.
Yeah.
She's gonna hire me and go, Crystal, here you go. I'll see you the day of. Like, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
really for me knowing my target audience. My target isn't everybody, you
Yeah.
know, isn't the one who my target audience isn't the bride who or the couple who are trying to DIY everything. That's not really nothing wrong with that, but that's not my service client. So I would really tell them to just kind of tap into that professional service help. And sometimes, wait a little bit. Sometimes it's like, there's nothing wrong with, yes, I want to get married right away, but is it about the marriage or is it about the wedding? Sometimes if you're on a strict budget, but you want certain things, then wait 2 years, so you can save up, or,
Mhm.
don't do a 6 month. Oh, we want to get married in 6 months. Well, do you have the money to get married in 6 months?
Yeah.
No. So,
Well, everybody has the
maybe.
money to get married in 6 months. I
Mhm.
mean, literally, all you gotta do is go down and get married, and then you're done, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, but you'll
it's an
be
event,
surprised.
right?
Some people are like, "Oh, we want to get married
Yeah.
before we go to my uncle's 70th birthday party." And it's
Sure.
like, okay, so sometimes it's like, wait a little bit. If we have to wait for a year,
Yeah.
that's fine. Or start early.
Yeah.
Or, again, these are the packages I provide. So you might have to do a little bit of work and beforehand, but you have me for day of management to make sure the work that you put in, that you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
So everything you spent, I make sure that you get what you paid for.
Yeah.
So maybe just do the 6 to 8 months, the month of management instead of the full planning.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
again, I start trying to educate them in the beginning so they know the value of my work and service. But again, I put everything on social media. It's like, hey, those testimonials will tell you. So by the time you get to me, I'm not selling you. We're just having a conversation because
Yeah.
you already know what I can do.
Yeah. That's
So
great.
it's really up to you to say yay or nay. But I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
just having a conversation. You see my services, and I'm answering questions.
That's great. So what about, one day you and I are gonna retire and not do this stuff anymore. So what advice would you have for others coming up in the business specifically?
Definitely invest in yourself. That's when you start knowing your worth. If you try to free 99 everything, it's not going to, you're still going to be, why do I keep getting people asking me to do their events for $200?
Mhm.
Because you won't invest 1,000 in yourself,
Yeah.
meaning education, conferences, design workshops that you can go to if you're really trying to learn the craft. Because again, things change, so you have to stay up to date on what's going on.
Mhm.
You have these wedding trends and um, these conferences and things that you need to stay up on and educate, or software tools and
Yep.
things like that you need to use. So sometimes things cost, just like if you want your client to pay for you, you have to pay for things.
That's
So
right.
that's where I start, when I do coaching and meeting with novice planners. I get a lot of inquiries of people who just kind of, hey, if you don't mind, can we just meet for coffee and I can kind of talk to you about certain things? And I do that because when I was, first starting out, no one would do that for me.
Yeah.
And I always said, once I get to a certain point and people start asking me questions, I'll definitely do that because that helps them from the beginning to
Well,
give them
that's you
a little bit
giving
of
back
confidence.
too, right?
Exactly.
You're giving back, right? Because I mean, I do the same thing. When
Mhm.
I people ask me stuff all the time, and I just, yeah, let's talk about it, right? Because I want to help, I
Yeah.
want to give back. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And sometimes just kind of the expert planners get upset with the new planners because, oh, they're lowering the value of, the market because they're charging this and that. And it's like, but you won't pick up the phone and talk to them about that. So you can't complain. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So, I let them know, hey, why are you charging? Hey, how much are you? Well, I'm, charging $500 for a 400-person wedding.
Holy moly.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, but they don't know any better,
Yeah.
so you have to give them, push that confidence into them. That's really where it starts at. Well, I don't know if I can charge that much. So once they start investing in themselves, attending conferences, design workshops, then you go, I've spent $2,500 in the past 6 months educating myself.
Yeah.
I need the return on my investment, right?
That's right.
So the 3 weddings that I've got, I need to up my prices because I've spent,
Yeah.
so it starts there. So that's what I kind of coach with my, the new planners and the less than 5 year planners to let them know, hey, now it's time to start investing in yourself. If you're really trying to get to that next level, that's what helped me, you
Yeah.
know.
That's awesome. All right. So last question. What's your
Mhm.
best, worst, whatever you want to, whichever you want to give me, a wedding story or a business story?
Um, I think I have been very fortunate as far as I never say worst wedding because I learned from all of them. Like you need those experiences to make you better.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So during going through it, I might be like, oh my God, my head hurt. Like I can't I can't do this.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I'm thankful because I know what to do next time. Two, I have a story to help somebody else. That's really what it boils down to. I go through everything to help the next planner so they don't have to deal with that.
Yep.
So and everybody's different. Like I don't have the same story with every wedding because everybody is so unique to what they want. My client base is. So it's not, I can't say that I've had a what do they call it? Like a bridezilla. Like
That's good.
I've never really had that. And again, it's all about going with your gut. So I
Mhm.
have not hired people because I'm like, I think you're going to be a problem. So yeah, I don't think, I don't think that we are a good fit.
Yep.
Um, or I'm booked that day. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think we're a good
Oh, what
fit.
the hell? I'm sorry. Oh, we booked that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm booked that day.
Yeah.
So I've learned to rely on my gut because your gut always tells you like
Yep.
something's wrong, and
Mhm.
all money isn't good money. So
Right.
sometimes it's just not worth. It's just not worth it. No matter how good, it's like, oh, that was a $4,500 event or $10,000 client, but you're like, just what I would go through, I'll end up in the hospital and I'm okay. Like,
Yeah. I'm okay
you're
with
just
that.
like, no. So I don't really look at it as like a nightmare. I just look at it as it's an experience that you have to learn. Like that keeps me on my toes. That keeps me better. If everything was like perfect, then how good of a planner would I be?
Right.
Because would I know how to deal with those, curveballs that come?
Yep. Yeah. Because they come. That's for
Oh,
sure.
they come.
Yeah.
And I always say it's not a great wedding if something doesn't go wrong.
Hmm.
That's
That's
how I
right.
look at it. If everything went right, I'm like, is this really a great event? Like something has to go wrong for me to go into my like. That's why you hired me to fix the problems, to deal with the stress. That's a part of my business. So if that doesn't happen, it wasn't really a good event.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Crystal Marie, thanks so much. I really appreciate you doing this. And
Yay!
this was really great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it or see the post. So definitely let me know when you post it.
All right. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it with other people. Also, if you're getting married or you work in the wedding industry, I would love to interview and share your information with other people. send me a text 520-399-8580 or shoot me an email at letschat@wedding.report.